6 o'clock, everybody in?
Everybody's in.
All right. Well, we'll call to order the regular meeting of the Green Mountain Water Sanitation District, March 12th, 6 p.m. And start with a roll call. Karen Morgan present.
Dave Whitman present.
Roger Wendell present. Todd Hicks present.
Dave Garner present.
And we have a quorum. Thank you, everyone. Are there any directors' matters to discuss tonight? Disclosure matters? Okay, seeing none. Any changes to the agenda? And none again. So moving on to public comment. Public comment, we have 5 minutes per person, and I will start us off going around the room tonight. If you could stand up.
Sure.
And tell us your name for the record.
My name is Randy Little, for the record. I'm under the impression that there is going to be a seat open in the board. If not right this minute, maybe in the future. I did run for the last board position with over 1,200 votes on that particular election. And I'm still very much interested in being on your board. I sent all of you, I think if you might have got it, a resume. There's some couple things in there that I didn't add that could possibly be a, I don't know, potential of interest. I have 2 lawyers in my family. Both of them are partners in law firms. One is a worldwide partner in Vietnam. And he is head of the American Chamber of Commerce in the Vietnam area. So it's kind of a feather in our cap for our family. The second thing is I should probably disclose my wife works for one of the world's largest architectural firms that does water resources, buildings, has built most of the DIA, half of downtown Denver, and they're engineering firms and what have you. I don't have anything to do with her. She didn't talk to me at all about that, but you know, it's an interest to me, and I follow that quite often. Like I said, I've been around for a lot of years. I am retired right now. If you go through the resume, look at that. I mean, I'm still very much interested in this board and have been for several years. And I think in another election with the 1,200 votes I got the first time, if you have to go to an election for a board member, I probably could do very good on that election again. But I'm very interested in joining, and I'd be proud to be part of your organization. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Joan Poston, and I have come a couple of times to speak before this board. And it has always been about the 57 acres at 4th and Union that was about 18 months ago now put up for sale, and it was sold in April of last year. So I had gotten a FOIA to find out some of the information behind what was going on with this. And after the election, they closed my FOIA. They sent me a letter that said it was done and this is all you're getting. And that was on December 8th. They gave me 90 days to appeal the situation, and that date expired last Friday. I have not appealed this situation. That means I'm now free to consult with somebody and move on in a civil matter, if I so choose. The one thing that I have learned, and this is all I can share about it, is that somewhere someone requested an investigation through the EPA. I didn't know what's going on with that. Nobody's telling me anything. But then again, they didn't tell me anything with the FOIA either. So it is our government, and they don't tell you things unless they want you to know. So I'm here. I appreciate what you all are doing. And I do want to say that I think it's important to keep our governments to their word and what they've been saying they would do. And I am hoping that we will make some resolution on this land. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm assuming I'm next.
You're next.
Yeah. You guys know me, I'm Mike Yost. And like I said, congratulations to Dave for, moving on to that next phase, whatever that is, God bless you and your family. And, like I said, I'm not here to pitch. In fact, this young man might be, sounds like my man. Yeah, it's Dave. No, maybe before I start a short story and, not another lawyer joke, don't tell. But a couple of good old boys from, I'll make this quick, a couple of good old boys, Colorado, went up to, Alaska, on a moose hunt. They were doing well. This was something on their bucket list. So the pilot, drops them off, bush pilot, right, single engine, fixed wing. And the last thing he tells them is, guys, I only have the capacity to bring back one moose carcass and you all back. They're like, yeah, okay, that's fine, we get it. So sure enough, that first day, they got two moose. Meese. And, so they got on their sat phone, called the pilot. Pilot comes, picks them up, and, he says, I had told you, we only have room for one meese carcass. I'm like, really? How about if we, paid a little extra to make this work? I was like, nah, we'll give it a go. So, try to take off. And they don't just quite clear the trees at the end of the runway. And they have to crash land. And so, they crash land, but they survive. They get out of the airplane. And they're like, oh, what the heck? And one of them says, this field looks familiar. And one of the other guys goes, well, it should. This is where we crashed last year. This is my segue into talking about why I did come. Congratulations to Josh. Great selection. He'll do a great job. This is really a good deal. And so, thank you, board members, for selecting Josh. I'm a little, why I'm here is don't micromanage Josh, okay? Y'all have a propensity to do that. This is a great opportunity, not only for Josh, not only for the district as a whole, but growth for, I had a chat with Roger about this. Growth for other staff members and in particular, Sam, I think is growing into a bigger position. And so something like a promotion for Sam, building on his role as, not just GIS, but the modeling we've talked about and some of the financials that he was able to kind of do a deep dive into and come up with some facts and figures to help us figure out what the surcharge should be for developers. So I'd love to see that continue. That said, with the micromanagement thing, I do, I can think of an example, and it was, really led to me leaving here a bit hastily. I also understand you hired Trihydro, right, as the environmental firm. Good selection. I know of them. I know of them. I like the way the process went. A little full disclosure, I set that process up and it went exactly how I said it would go. But like I said, I left in a haste. That last meeting, I was an employee. I had set that up for success. But at the meeting, to be blunt, Dave and Karen, you accused me of some improprieties with contacting, or the fact that I had discussions with the firms that were submitting their statement of qualifications, the way I went about the process, and that we should delay it. Here it was, just within a few hours of it being due. And so I really resented that, questioning of my professionalism and my integrity. And you guys lost Jeff Baker, you lost, the previous manager, and you fired your consulting firm. So I came in here, tried to do the best I could, jumped in a bunch of things, and then I kept getting questioned on my professionalism, my integrity. So finally, I couldn't take it anymore. And so I left in a haystack. So I just wanted to come back and talk to you about that. I guess I'll leave it there. My 5 minutes is probably close to be enough. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alan Takiuchi. I'm a homeowner here in Green Mountain. Been here since mid-80s, and I'm just kind of trying to get clarification on, what the Green Mountain had was the water district was supposed to provide water for Green Mountain. I know we had that whole Salterra thing, and I just want to know, with all that stuff that they're building up there in the Red Rock Branch, where are we with that? Because that, isn't in our district, it's my understanding, and it's Mount Carbon in there. I'm sure, just from where that's located, nobody really wants to put any infrastructure there because it'd be so cost prohibitive, kind of like the Vandermeer property. And I just want to know where the thought is on that, and there's some lawsuit or something like that from some developers from that whole Salterra area there, I think, maybe, or did it get solved? I'm not sure. I just, pick up little things and stuff, so anyway.
We appreciate you speaking. We don't normally have an exchange with the guests. In case you're asking for an answer now, we don't normally do that.
Okay, and so where
You
can,
could send us an email and we could communicate that way,
okay,
get it going.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you.
I'll just support. We'll send 2 emails then. Okay. Online, I see Ludmilla's hand up. If you could unmute yourself, there you go.
I'm unmuted. Unfortunately, I'm unmuted, guys. Good evening, board members. Karen, David, Todd, David, Roger. Hello, Dylan. Hey, Sam. Hey, we've got Josh sitting at the table. You need a tie, Josh. You got to be professional now, huh? Dylan, you got another tie on. You must have been doing business today. All right, I covered all the bases. So here we go. Business. Paving to Lakewood's Ravine Agreement. Wonderful. Isn't it convenient that Director Gardner announced his resignation effective today, March 12th, the day the board may consider voting on the Lakewood Ravine Agreement. When Mr. Beckwith's Ravine Park Bridge report was submitted to Green Mountain Water, Mr. Gardner asked if the report had to be posted on the website. I am grateful and appreciate the transparency of allowing your customers to read the entire report. From the well-researched report submitted, the title report certifies, this is in quotes, that the city of Lakewood, Colorado is the owner in fee simple of the lands. In fee simple ownership, the land and the structures on it are owned outright with no limitations. The in fee simple ownership means Lakewood owns the structures since they are on the entity that owns the land. Okay, the report that was submitted is in it's 100% in favor of Green Mountain Water. The submitted agreement is 100% in favor of Lakewood. The board really needs to discuss that agreement. I think it's not good. Then we've got compensation offered to our new district manager should be based upon experience and length of employment. A person that works for 25 years and was a district manager in a water district should be offered more compensation than a person that was never a district manager. Green Mountain Water and Sanitation has always been very generous with bonuses, extra compensation during the district manager's search, and raises. It's time to base bonuses on merit and performance. And of course, there should be a cost of living raises, but 18% in less than a year is extreme. Regarding the potential new board member, Randy Little, I would like to know his position on extraterritorial agreements. And once he tells the customers, his constituents, his position, will he change his mind if the board appoints him? Or when the developers attend the board meeting demanding service because they're entitled to the service, will he stand firm and not waver? Is there anything in the bylaws that states Green Mountain Water can't wait for the next election to elect a new board member? Mr. Gardner, I wish you the best, and I will pray for you. Just a reminder, if there are any fire hydrants available, please let me know. All right, in conclusion, I would like to have an estimated time of how long this executive session will last tonight, because I need at least a half an hour to warm up and consume my leftover pot roast before the executive session is over. That would be truly appreciated. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else online? Raise your hand now,
Somebody.
or, sorry, what is it, star 69? To raise on a phone? So we have some phone people,
Or just let them mute and say something.
yeah,
Hello?
we had. Oh, there she goes, okay. I'm not seeing anybody else raising their hand.
We've got somebody, unmuted, phone number ending in 1558.
Hello?
Oh, very good. Hello, we hear you.
I have technical difficulties every time. Anyway, the previous commenter actually addressed a lot of my issues too, but I'll try to keep it brief. So my comments in regard to agenda item number 9, the Ravine Bridge Agreement status. And the agenda does not say that there will be a vote tonight, and I really hope that is the case, because that is a terrible agreement for Green Mountain Water. And this issue has been in the works for years, so a little more delay to get it right is the correct thing for you guys to do as fiduciaries. And I'm pretty sure the ratepayers will not appreciate you agreeing to an open-ended cost that is in Lakewood's hands. There's no clue as to exactly how much we will be on the hook for. And this somehow reminds me of the Lakewood City Council agreeing to the $9 million grant money for the Navigation Center without the specifics of the contract being known in advance. And I really appreciated Councilman Rich Olver for pointing that out. And, you know, that is just a terrible business practice. And, you know, that applies to government extra because they are using our money. So I just, please, you guys don't make the same mistake. And anyway, right now, Lakewood is not an entity I really feel like helping much these days. So I am not feeling warm and fuzzy about that Ravine Bridge Agreement status, the agreement being so heavily in favor of Lakewood. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Can you state a name for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're supposed to be psychic. Deborah Romero.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak?
I just unmuted myself, Imara here. I echo what Deborah just said. I'd like to make another point about the ravine problem. don't put yourself up for liability. Don't put us up for liability. Don't put us into another legal liability situation because you guys agree to a contract to do work on property that we don't own. So if you don't hold title to the appurtenances of those structures and that land, that puts us at risk if you decide to muck with it. I have heard board directors, I don't know, remember if it was the last meeting or the second to the last or 3 meetings ago, voice their opinion that Lakewood decided to take on all the responsibility. And so what we are doing is fixing our pipe, but we are not taking on any responsibility, any liability. That's false. Given the way this contract is written, given that Lakewood holds the title to this land and all appurtenances on it, your sewer pipe, your carrier pipe, your water pipe, it doesn't matter what you're moving through it, even though we own that pipe. The way this thing is written, we do have liabilities here. So please be very careful before you decide to vote on this, as has been voiced by 2 other ratepayers in Green Mountain, this lopsided, very unfortunate agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Just had to jump in, I think. Last chance, anybody going, and done. All right, closing public comment. Thank you all. We have approval of the minutes next. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Second.
Director Garner makes a motion, Director Whitman seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye. Unanimous, thank you. Financial matters. We have the operating expenses.
Yes, I reviewed everything and I'm still happy we're making more money than we thought.
Yeah.
Yay. So, I would move that we accept the income and expense statements and the financial statements as they are presented by Doug.
Second.
Director Hooks makes a motion. Director Wickman seconds. This is for the expenses and the expenditures. Right? Not
Well, and
for the
the-
investment. Yes, for the investment.
Yeah, I actually reviewed all of it
All of
for
it.
everything, the
Very good.
financial statement and the investments.
All right. Any discussion on these items? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Did you vote?
Oh, I signed it, yeah, I'll vote for it.
Okay, unanimous then. You still have to vote, yeah.
You can know,
Excellent.
that's true. I vote against the motion I made.
You never know. Update for the signers.
Yeah, we have a couple of forms here. This one here will require all the board members, the remaining board members to sign for making transactions on the accounts, signing checks, things like that.
Just out of curiosity, why? We've been around for a year now, haven't we already signed everything?
It's just, I think right now there's only 2.
I'm on it, I think
I
Roger.
thought all 5 of us signed.
No. Sorry, I'll jump in there. So anytime there's a change made, we have to update every signer. So because David Garner's resigning, we need to just update everything.
Well, right, I understand that. And when Dave's successor comes in, we all 5 sign it again. That makes sense. But why are we signing today? We don't have the successor. The 4 of us that are signing.
My name isn't on, I can't sign anything after today.
Right.
Correct.
Hey Doug,
Oh, that's just taking you off.
Yeah.
But you were not on as a signer.
Sorry.
You are not on as a signer.
so Doug,
You have
on the
never been on
second page, do I need to sign as the treasurer or we Karen as the president or who signs the second page?
Any current signer can sign, so yeah, you, Dave, Roger, or Karen could all sign that second page.
Okay. I thought I signed before.
You didn't
Yeah.
want to be assigned.
No, I did
Mr.
sign.
Garner was a signer,
Okay,
so yeah, that's why we're doing the whole process there. And then
Okay.
the second one that Josh is gonna present, that's to just make me an administrator. I can't really do anything that a signer could do, but I can call in, make inquiries, that kind of thing. But I still have no ability to sign.
and this is okay since I'm a little confused as to the timing of this because we still, it seems like we should be doing this after you're not here, like at the next meeting when you're not here.
Yeah,
Right now, it's.
That was kind of my point. Why aren't
Yeah.
we doing it the next meeting or whatever?
Right,
Well, the
I mean,
whole
I don't
point is
care.
to remove somebody
I
that's
can
not
go sign a
authorized.
check between
So it's
now.
essentially to remove Dave from.
Oh, okay, we're removing Dave.
okay.
So on this second one, so now we're just giving you the administrative. Is that one person signing or two of us?
So same thing, it could be you, Todd, Karen, Dave, or Roger can sign that.
Okay.
You guys want to sign it?
I just went around, right?
Jump in. Art district.
Fun.
So your signature. Yeah.
So then we are on to maintenance report, district reports.
Yes. Okay, keep further down. Yeah, further down. Right after the financials here. Right after these. Right, here we go. So as always, the first slide we present here is just our normal day-to-day operations and maintenance report, valve maintenance, transmitter change out, anything that we're really doing as a district here for all of our assets. Second page, it was a favorable month. We only had one main break in February. On Montana Drive, really close to the ravine, actually. Ground shifting is what caused the break from some 1972 cast iron pipe. In our valve maintenance program, we will be replacing valves from time to time because they do break from corrosion. And that can happen at any given time. And we had one in the month that failed on us, so we went out there and replaced it. And with the transmitter change out that we've been doing, UMS has been working out pretty well. We've done a total of 1,161 since February 1st. Or sorry, January 8th, I believe, yes. So we're on pace to get finished up here in the next month or so. We'll get all of our indoor meters with new fresh batteries and give customers access to data that they previously didn't have with the older style reading. Any questions there? Development reviews the car wash. They digested the report that they got from JVA. They want to go ahead and move on with a 2-inch service. Although this is kind of a unique situation, their gallons per day demand is going to exceed that of a normal 2-inch service. So it's actually, they're going to be represented at 29.4 single family equivalents. And only within the tap permit, we would stipulate that if, as we monitor their usage, it exceeds what their anticipated flows are, we can adjust accordingly and make them install a larger connection to make up for that.
Well, statistically, aren't they going to have to do that? From what that is showing?
Well, if they exceed the 98 GPM, yes, they'll have to upsize to a 3-inch service. The velocity that 2-inch copper can handle is 10 feet per second. And if they exceed either one of those criteria, that's gonna create a larger tap for them. They elected to not do a reclaim system in their project, which would have lowered all of that back into normal window for a 2-inch meter. As far as usage goes, they'll be able to reuse that water. So that's kind of what makes this situation unique.
So how often is that monitored?
Well, we get 15-minute data.
So we would know relatively, or they would know relatively quickly if it's not going to.
Yeah, they would know within, I mean, we would probably give it a couple of weeks to see if they do see that.
So Josh, they're not required to reclaim any portion of the water?
No,
Is that unique to us or?
no, only certified car washes with like Denver's system. They get, I think they get, I'm not quite sure how it works inside of Denver, but the GPM that within our master plans states 800 gallons per day is kind of the normal for a one SFRE. They're at 23,500 gallons per day. That's their projected usage. So that's why it increased up to the 29.4 SFREs.
And when they originally submitted, they submitted with a reclamation system and then modified their plans to remove it.
This is the 7th car wash within a 1 mile radius. So I think, high usage, they're expecting they're gonna have to take traffic away from other people. Which I don't think is gonna happen, the market will adjust. If they become a serious threat, others will lower their prices and just be stuck. They've got it.
And yeah, and all this kind of came out in JB's assessment of what their impact to the system will be, so. It covers us as far as, them paying their way and, getting our recovery for what their demand of the system will be.
Quick question. Not business related, so you can ignore it, blow me off. But I'm a cat and I'm curious. How are they gonna put a car wash in there when there's already a building? Are they gonna tear the building down or?
Yeah, they're demoing it.
They gotta tear that whole building down?
What a waste.
I said, what a waste, but okay.
Yeah, I think it's been abandoned for a couple of years now, so.
That was CVS or whatever, it was that
Yeah.
pharmacy, right? Friday, whatever. it was.
What's the hammer that forces they go to a 3-inch?
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry?
please.
Does anybody have to dig up Alameda? During this activity, so we're good, we don't have to be the bad guys.
What's your?
Yeah, the water line runs down actually behind the sidewalk right
Yeah.
now.
What's the hammer? Yeah, what's the hammer that forces?
How big is that water
If
line?
their usage goes up.
How big is that water line?
It's 12 inch.
And forces them to go
I
to.
think it's 12 inch.
Is that standard pretty much?
No, 12 inches is, it was probably installed that way in anticipation of something going in that direction. There's another line, there's a little bit of a gap down to, I think, Oak, where there's another water line, so. I really don't know the methodology behind the 12 inch. At that time, it was a long time ago.
They didn't build the sewer the same way at the same time.
Yeah, there's that issue.
Yeah,
The other
it's Fed Center.
questions on the car wash?
Thank you.
Fletcher Miller, they're redoing that school over there. They, Miller Associates did their review. And approved the plan that they submitted to us with a few changes that we decided to make with our specs and, valve placement, things like that. Then now it's off to Denver Water, so. They're gonna tear one down well, they're gonna build the new school first, keep the old school in operation, then they're gonna demo the old school and, move all the kids into to the new school. So that one's pretty straightforward. 1031 South Union Boulevard, they recently reached out to know what the status of their project is over there. So we had them submit to the city of Lakewood, which gives us the water and sewer availability forms that we sign off on, which shows, you know, things that they may or may not have to do as far as the development review goes, so. And I haven't heard anything since received those documents from us.
Let me ask a question on the car wash. That second point about it, going for the 2 inch and then stipulation might be increased. What is that format that might change? Is there an enforcement mechanism or how would that second point be
Yeah,
realized?
that will be in the tap permit application, so they'll be signing on the tap permit that these are the conditions that they have to meet. Otherwise, they have to upsize their line.
Good question. I'm glad we're not micromanaging this.
So we originally were like, we need to do a 3 inch, but they made some changes internally in their plumbing system to lower that demand at the time, and then they took the reclamation out, which then moved it way back up. So,
Well, anyway, I'm not trying to suggest what to do. I'm just curious.
yeah, it's gonna just hold their feet to the fire as far as if their projections are incorrect, then we can make them have a larger line to reduce the velocity that runs through that section.
The micromanaging comes in from the 15-minute monitor. It gets already built in.
All right. Anything else on that one? Questions?
So again, 1031, they just officially requested water and sewer availability. And it's been nothing since then.
How
many,
sorry, go ahead.
how many single family?
I think there's 12.
12,
Yeah.
Let's get that number wrong. I keep thinking it's 29, but that was exposition.
Yes.
There's 12 what?
12 homes.
Oh, on Union?
Yeah, I just, I have a hard time remembering what the.
Right.
Not that I should care anymore, but I do care, you know?
Bet you found those.
Yeah. So,
Moving on to the federal center, the engineering firm, Kimley Horn, sent over their official request for water and sewer availability there, which we signed off on, sent back to them and informed them that the first part of the review process will be the desktop study that Tri-Hydro will perform. And based on the assessment they get from that, any additional work will be presented to us at that time, so.
Okay, we do have,
Yeah, there is anticipation for that because from what I gather, and the little bit that we've seen from the Vertex report, it's the bottom half of the horseshoe. As far as I know, nothing has been done on the landfill and the top half, which we'll want to have that holistically evaluated and move on there, so. It's just moving through the steps to get to where we want us to be.
gotcha, thank you.
Obviously, you don't know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. Do we have any vague idea what the timelines are on that project? What we might be expecting when? 3 months out, 6 months out?
I'm thinking somewhere probably in that neighborhood. I just got the master agreement with Tri-Hydro put together, so I need to send that off to them, have them sign off on the agreement. Then I can ship the report to them and they'll give us a timeline back on what they anticipate for that. So,
Remember the developer wanted to broken ground by December?
supposed to already be done by now, yeah.
And, you know,
Which year?
you're right, December 2024 might be a good time.
So they're gonna review, we're gonna give us feedback, we're gonna, you know, inform them that the top half of the horseshoe has basically been untouched, and that's.
Do I remember correctly, and this goes to Joan's point during public comment, that there was an indication that, there is a federal entity that has some knowledge of what's buried there. It wasn't in the last public report several years ago.
That I don't have any knowledge of, you know.
Yeah, okay. It's out there.
Tri-Hydro, they have no, history with the property, so they're gonna have a fresh set of eyes as far as their review goes. They had no involvement with any of the other entities that are involved in for the developer, so it's a very fresh set of eyes for the projects. No conflicts as far as anybody knowing anybody else involved.
What I had heard was that the same developer, or the same government entity that holds the historic documents for Rocky Flats holds it for Hudson.
Rocky Flats will be Department of Energy. And this one, Department of Energy was never on the Fed Center.
Gotta go all the way back when they were the original.
I'm sure that we are looking into it.
Yeah.
Right.
It just, and this is a question I encourage you all to ask at the appropriate time.
Excellent.
Yeah, and once that master agreement goes back to Tri-Hydro, they'll have their review time of the agreement, and so I don't see this being a snap through process. It's gonna be very well researched. You will. Sorry, Jerry, one other piece there, they also requested our timing of the review of the submittal package they put together, which is where all the hydrants are gonna go, where all the sewer lines are gonna go, and I told them that's phase 2 of the review. They have to get through the environmental piece first before we take any action on the pipeline.
And they still know that they're paying for the review.
Yes. They asked for this, for timing of the fee and scope from the consultant on what that's gonna cost them.
Dylan, I know that's our rules, but did they come back later and say, well, we did it, but we don't want to pay for it and we want you to pay for it? I'm trying to anticipate, is there any way that this could go south on us and try to make us pay for it?
Sure, they can go back and say that, and your response would be that, okay, then you don't get water service. That's the requirement of your provision of water services, water and sanitary.
So pound sand without any water.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds like a fair solution.
So the third bullet is just, again, touching on that the environmental consultant, they requested, we finally got the document late yesterday afternoon from Kimley Horn, so that's gonna go to them as soon as we get the agreement put together. So things are moving.
Very good, thank you.
Infrastructure replacement projects, Lakewood approved our plans. They had them roughly 3-4 weeks, so it was a decent turnaround. Very few comments. The RG Associates, the design engineers did a great job. They only had, I think, 2 minor comments that were addressed quickly and got through them, so. Denver Water has them now. They had some comments on valve placement, things like that, just real straightforward comments that they're going to submit back to them on Friday. So we should be about a couple of weeks off from our projected timing for bidding, so everything's shaping up pretty nice.
Now, if there are situations where there are road impacts, digging up such that has Lakewood tried, do you know, to coordinate and be efficient? It's just a thought, yes, right?
No, and that's something that we're gonna move on in 2025. They've been sharing what they're doing for, I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll get a document from them saying, hey, this is what we're doing in 2024. Well, in 2025, I'm gonna try to do my best to get that information ahead of time so that we can coordinate pipe replacement that needs it. Like if it was something from the 90s, that we probably wouldn't go there, but the aging infrastructure that needs replacement, if it's in a road that they're repaving, we'll step that up, make that. That'll add weight to what line we select.
Well, if they coordinated with us, it'd be a win-win for everybody, so.
Absolutely. Yep. Right now, it's pretty much anywhere we go, it's half mill and overlay. So if we dig a line, bury it, they're requiring it to be mill and overlay from the crown to the edge of right ways, so. That will help, keep our costs down, keep Lakewood's costs down for, future projects. Sewer flow monitoring, we did get a quote back, yesterday as well from Ted Miller Associates. They're gonna be doing some flow monitoring for us, so I've not had a chance to digest that yet as far as what the cost breakdown is gonna be, but, it's well within our engineering budget, so we're gonna, try to get them on the schedule as soon as possible to get flow meters in place before, well, it's gonna be actually really good timing with this huge snow that we're having, so. That'll give us really, really good data for what we're seeing upstream of our exit points that we get, from Metro Water Recovery. I'm excited for that. And I think that is the conclusion of the district status. Does anybody have any additional questions that may have come up?
Did you find anything out about Expo?
No, we went out, I had our respective go by there and they're still doing
They're still
stuff.
doing stuff?
They're building houses and
Okay,
they don't have all the meters in yet. They don't have all the service lines fully inspected yet.
Yeah.
We haven't released all the meters to them, but I think there's about 15 in right now.
okay. Excellent. Good report, thank you very much. Any other questions for Bob before move on? All right. We are on to Director's Matters. I passed around the employee leave calendar that I brought up last time. These were just 2 extra days that, according to the federal calendar to add, and we're just modifying just because it came up, already. So we can take care of it, and it's just something to take off the list to do. New manager would take care of it as well, but. So this would be the addition of 2 extra days so that they would have the full number of days that the government employees have.
Our action is authorized 2 additional days.
Is it 4 or is it 2?
It's 2 additional.
Okay, so the one where it says the second day is in lieu of, the other second day is
Yeah.
in lieu of, those weren't there before, or those always have been there?
They have been there,
Okay, that's what I was curious.
yeah.
Okay, so we're authorizing 2 additional days. Does it have to be this menu? I mean, I don't care. I was just wondering, have the employees thought about it? And is this the ones they want?
I asked for input.
Yeah, historically, those are whatever they kind of voted on. How long ago was that? 10+ years ago.
Is that right?
That everybody just wanted, at the holiday time, instead of taking
Yeah.
a random day off, that they wanted to be
with Thanksgiving or with Christmas has been.
I see.
And I noticed you don't have all of the federal holidays, not that I'm saying that you should, but something like Juneteenth.
Juneteenth is in the second day off after Thanksgiving. So instead of having Juneteenth, they have the day after Thanksgiving.
Oh, I get.
So it's the same number of days.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And they're not choosing because that day the office is closed. So it's not like you can come in. I mean, if you want to have a call off day, it doesn't matter. And this is the time to do it. It's just modifying. I didn't know how that was gonna work.
And we can run a poll with staff and see how they feel about it, but, I don't review it at all.
Do you want to do that and come back? This is the days I have suggested. We can do that.
I mean,
Now we can do it later.
I think maybe if you guys wanna agree on the days, then we can kind of set it up to where which day is taken on, if they wanna take the actual holiday itself, or if they wanna have it tied to the existing holiday that we're.
Well, the way I was asking a question, I figured the only thing from our perspective as a board protecting the people is what's the cost gonna be? The cost is 2 days. 2 days, I agree with that. As far as which 2 days, I could care less. If, it might as well be an employee benefit. What days do you guys want? You guys pick, I don't care.
Excellent.
I
Are
didn't,
you saying making them like random, just,
yeah, because that's what I don't understand. So for example, if I want to use my New Year's holiday for Valentine's Day, do I get to work New Year's Day because the office is closed?
Well,
So I can't really.
No, I'm not saying everybody's individual choice, but the employees as a group, the employees all want these holidays. I would see why not.
Yeah, and now that's what I'm saying, I'll reach out, set up.
most of them are Mondays, correct? Isn't that what, or does MLK
Usually.
flex? I think Columbus is usually Monday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The federal holidays almost always a Monday.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, days like 4th of July are on.
Random, right?
Oh, 4th of July, random day, yeah.
So Christmas, you come back on Wednesday instead of Tuesday. And Christmas is always on Christmas.
Right. I like your thinking, Dave.
It's like, I went to college, man. I could pick up on these things.
Okay, well, if you are more comfortable with running a poll and just figure out how you're going to,
Yeah, if you guys wanna approve the number of days, then we can, on the couple of flex ones that you were talking about, in lieu of holidays. We can on that, if that's what you're asking me.
I'm taking your in lieu of days after Thanksgiving, after Christmas. I just kept all that.
Okay.
And I'm keeping your existing schedule and adding MLK Day and Columbus Day.
Yeah, well, that's perfect.
Well, the only holidays that are coming up here quickly would be Memorial Day, Juneteenth. Got 4th of July. Beyond that, there's plenty of time.
Yeah.
And do you need to know whether those 3 are good to go?
No, I think those ones will stay as is. It's just the,
Juneteenth.
It still keeps the day after Thanksgiving, and the day after Christmas.
yes.
So if that is the important part, then that is still in here. And otherwise, it's just 2 more days.
That's perfect.
Okay. All right, and then I'm sorry, I forget the advice that we can do a motion just to cover the bases, but was that necessary? Do you remember?
Ask that question again.
Because we're modifying, this will be a motion to modify the employee handbook.
Yeah, given given that you don't actually have a district manager right now, I think it's the one decision, and I think that should be a motion. Yeah, otherwise, under normal circumstances, I think that this decision would probably be a district manager level decision.
Okay, I believe they have to come, because they brought changes to the handbook before. So either way, we would have to be voting on it, I think. doesn't matter, we can look at that for later. For tonight, I will move to modify the employee handbook for the proposed holiday schedule, which adds 2 days to the existing schedule.
Sounds like.
All right, Director Morgan, motions, Director Garner, seconds, any discussion?
Well, yeah, it doesn't change the vote or anything, but again, I'm just kind of curious. Does this have a budgetary impact?
Well, yeah. Costs us 2 days of work and 2 days of.
Okay. Does that have to be worked into the motion somehow? Because ordinarily, like I say, if you're doing an expenditure that's outside of the budget, you're supposed to do a supplemental motion to cover the supplemental action.
Well, we're paying them one way or the other. They're just really getting off work.
Okay, so.
So the cost is the same to us.
Okay, so there's
The
no.
only difference is they're not working on it.
Just so much.
Yeah, okay. Then I think the answer is no, we're fine.
Yeah, this is not going to affect your appropriations.
That was my question.
Director Knox, you had a comment?
Well,
Oh, you were just getting ready to vote?
Yeah.
Okay, call for a vote then. All in favor? Aye, it is unanimous. Thank you. I was checking to see if he actually raised his hand this time.
I didn't make a motion, so I don't have to vote for it.
All right,
Something I would do.
on to the discussion for a director vacancy. We are,
So just as a note, you
Yeah.
don't have a vacancy
no,
yet. So you do have a proposed vacancy. So you're not appointing anyone.
we are not appointing.
You are sort of discussing the proposed vacancy.
That's right.
And I made the announcement last month so that you all could think about it for a month and be prepared to act. So I'm sorry that some of you were confused and didn't think I really meant it.
Well, are you sure? We'll do it one more time. You're not gone yet.
I think there are a number of people in the community who would be excellent, far better than I.
Well, we appreciate all your service.
And I'm
So,
still available to be a negotiator for you. That's never changed.
excellent.
Did it after I left last time.
Good to know.
Happy to beat up on developers and take their money.
Well, so at the end of this meeting, then we anticipate having a vacancy. Last several times we've had a vacancy. We make a call for applications and have people send in 200 words of, to state their interest and bring them in, and we did a public interview. And then had a discussion and vote.
I'm gonna clarify that, because I don't remember that. I went back and I was looking at the minutes.
Mm.
And what I saw was, in April, Baker said, I'm gonna be leaving in 2 weeks. And so we said, okay, we will interview people the following day, which is sometime in April 23rd or something like that. We never did. And then on the May meeting, when it came up, I don't see that we necessarily interviewed anybody. There were a number of people who spoke up, and I guess they knew that, or that they thought there was an interview and they were speaking up. But I didn't realize it was an interview. And so I'm a little confused with what we did last time versus this time.
All I can say to that is, I hope you're paying attention this time. We had a couple people come, and yes, they all spoke.
Yeah.
Director Garner was one, I believe. Mr. Little was another. We had, another member of the public here. Mr. Yost was one, and there was a fourth gentleman who, lived in the district but worked for another water district.
Well, actually, Little didn't come that day.
That was not, did you?
I was not present because I was understood you made the decision before I ever came.
We had the announcement, yeah, we had posted it, and sent it around. So that's what we are, we will try and do better this time.
Okay, so
I don't remember who did. I know we went through the process. I remember people, walking out because it was an uncomfortable process, because we did do that.
well, are we gonna set up an interview meeting? Or are we planning on doing it as far as the next meeting, or?
What would you like to do? We have normally done this just at the next business meeting. This will be what, third, fourth vacancy? we've done this with. So we have normally just done it at the next vacancy, posted on the website, sent it around via email, and just announced it in the meeting. If you have modifications, let's hear 'em.
Really, your only requirements are that it be made in an open session, the discussion be held in open session, and that the person appointed be an eligible elector and a resident of the district or owner of the district.
And you're saying the decision be in public. All of this is just our extra democratic process that we are calling for people to be. If we wanted to, we could call another special meeting in 2 days and just appoint the person that we had previously selected and have a conversation about it and then vote.
Well, I would caution you not to pre-decide.
I would too, but that's why we went through these extra steps of calling for and giving it a month and posting it and letting people know to come in and having this discussion.
Having been through the process twice, I would encourage you to have an open, transparent process where you announce on the website that there is this availability and a need, with a date certain by which time the applicant should send in a resume, give you all time to approve it, have them available. Anybody who wants to speak at the next board meeting, do so.
Mhm.
And then you make a selection if you're prepared to make a selection, or defer it if you're not. But you have the potential of having two to two tie votes. So
Until
best to move out quickly and decide.
Any other thoughts?
This appointment will be only effective until May of 2025, which is the next regular election. And then it'll be there will be a vacancy. And that person could run for election for a 4-year term.
No, not running.
My democratic sense says, ask the world, see what we get. So next meeting makes sense to me.
Okay. Well, we couldn't do it at this meeting, so.
Well, somebody made a point that, call a meeting later in the week or something like that. I was like, well, obviously, we have somebody who's interested. Obviously, they've got a good resume. However, there could be others out there, whatever, so I don't know. Generally, my general idea is haste makes waste, so taking a little time is probably good. But on the other hand, we don't want to drag it out forever, so the balance between the two, I don't know, probably the next meeting is fine.
Okay. Agreed? Okay,
And there will be a delay. So once you appoint someone, they still have to swear the oath. We have to file a bond. So really, if you do it at the next meeting, which is the April meeting, they will be seated in May. So, or whatever special meeting you call it.
yeah. It'd be one meeting with 4. Okay, do you have preference before we had did same as, election statements? We just asked for 200 words, not very many to state your positions or your qualifications.
So do we just want written, or do we want them to show up and actually, like Randy did tonight, do we want them to come and introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves?
I think both would be appropriate. What do you think?
If we do that, it should make it clear that each of the candidates should bring in treats. I like chocolate chip cookies. Well, I'm just saying.
You know,
Is there a dollar?
I think that is what happened last time. We took the words, but we did not make it clear that you could come in for an interview.
Well, and I'm not even sure, is it really an interview, or are we questioning them, or are we just more hearing?
What they have.
See, that's what threw me off with the main meeting. I realize my fault, as always. And I just stopped people coming in and they were just interested. I didn't realize that was the interview.
Well, I think it was,
My fault.
you have a chance, this is your chance.
It's more like a Q&A, Dave.
Yeah,
Not-
your chance to ask questions if you want to, or just listen if you want to. And like I said, we did have It is a little awkward here in public, but you can get your questions ready.
I feel bad, because Little did ask me, when is this gonna be? And I said, oh, I don't know, it's up in the air. And my answer should have been, you need to be at this meeting. And he wasn't there. I was like, well, you didn't tell me that there was something going on. So I was like, well, you have to realize that sometimes I'm kind of oblivious to what's going on. And
Well, it moves fast. I am not always clear, so I am sorry for the difficulties. Hopefully we can do better.
If I had known that, I would have resigned a couple of months ago. To make up for it.
Do you not want them to come in?
Oh, I don't have any problem. I mean,
Okay, do you not
either
want
way,
them to do written?
I would take either. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know if it just gives, I mean, if they're here, it's kind of like the job interview. I mean, it's kind of nice to see them and hear from them and see what, their thoughts are.
So can we do a post on the website that we will have a director vacancy? If you are interested in the position, please submit 200 words and be available for questions.
250 is what it was last time.
Okay,
And I only mentioned that because somebody got cut off because they got more than 250.
I did.
we did.
Trying to help you out.
Yeah, well, that was on the ballot. So we can, it doesn't matter. We can do whatever we want here. We just don't need pages of things from
We need a
people.
motion.
I don't think so.
I don't think so,
Just
but
asking staff to
this is, yeah.
perform the administrative function.
Do you want me
So-
to just mirror or gather and share with you guys what the last process was, and if you want to make changes to it before you got into that?
Well, I think you hit it as ask for a written, and if somebody wants to write a 20-page essay, I won't read it, but they can submit it and then show up in person. The way most jobs do, submit something in writing it and then show up in person, be grilled.
Be grilled. Wow.
Well, I will be rude, of course.
And then just circulate them, pass them forward as you get emails. You can email, just ask to email the board so that we get them. That would be fine. And we can consider as they come in. Okay. So we're posting on the web to email the board if you are interested with your name, 250 words, and to be ready for questions at the next April meeting. Good? All right.
Can I say, is a resume considered 200 words?
I don't know, you'd have to add them up.
Do I need to write them? Well, mine's over 200. I'm just trying to figure out what I need.
Karen corrected me. Yeah, it was the
It was
election.
valid. Would you rather, are you more interested in resumes? This is outside.
Not
of
really,
suggestion.
because, I mean,
To me, a
to me,
resume,
I think having a good mix of people is a good thing anyway. I mean.
Yeah.
From my standpoint, but
okay, very good.
Yeah, just,
And anybody interested will have the board email to ask questions.
yeah, just submit whatever they want. If they want to submit a tape of them dancing, I don't care. Submit what you
well,
want.
remember we had the one guy with his photo.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and skip that.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you, Dave.
Yeah, never mind that one.
We're gonna go ahead and skip that.
All right, anything else on that? Good. Once again, thank you, Director Garner. On to legal matters. Ravine Bridge.
Do you want to just, I have just a couple of general legal matters, just as an update. You want to share this first? Before we get into the more long items. Just as an update, the Fossil Ridge appeal, there was a request to extend the briefing schedule. The opening brief due from Brookfield is now due April 4th, which makes our response brief due May 9th, assuming that they file on the last day that they have, which is typical. So that's common. In addition, there's been communication among insurers and counsel regarding the Bear Creek lining intrusion incident. So that's ongoing. It's being addressed by insurance. I did ask for an update today, and didn't receive in from the insurer, but candidly, I emailed at like 3 p.m. So that's on me. We'll get into this more later, but there was the Big Sky case. The trial has been continued. It's no longer set for the second week of April. Instead, there is a trial setting conference to be held on May 20th. The court also told all of the attorneys to expect orders on all of the pending motions by that date. Hopefully, it's about a week before that day so that we can all have an idea of what our schedules are gonna look like as a result of those orders. In addition, the Camp George potential unexploded ordnance clearing project is on track for some initial field work next year. I attended a meeting 2 weeks ago for coordination on that. I've been the point of contact for that. After Josh takes the district manager position, I'm probably going to transition that over to him because it's gonna be more cost effective and it's gonna make way more sense for somebody with the knowledge of the district infrastructure to be handling that rather than your lawyer. Those are the general legal matters. Any questions on any of those?
Well, I guess I do just have one. To the lady with the thing, and I guess in looking at the correspondence, is it typical that they are trying to like, seem like circumvent and just keep putting this off as opposed to just dealing with it, or is that?
No, this is kind of been a strange one.
That's what
I don't know if it's. I don't know if anyone's trying to avoid responsibility or if it's just been a lot of balls dropped.
Okay.
But it's gone on all along.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and both Bear Creek and Green Mountain are insured, their claims handler is Sedgwick. They're both insured through the pool, I'm sure. But American West,
The contractor.
is
Right.
insured through Gallagher Bassett. So there's two insurers and there's 3 claims handlers involved. There is an attorney involved for
The party that was injured.
well, yeah, so the claimant has an attorney now who's sent some demand letters and has gotten some traction finally, but there's also an attorney for I think American West. I think they've been assigned counsel who reached out to Bear Creek to do some investigatory work. They've hired a consultant to investigate the claim. So Green Mountain is probably second in line in terms of insurance exposure. So first would be American West, then Green Mountain's named as an additional insured under American West insurance, but then you also have your own insurance. And then at the back end would be Bear Creek, which is really had nothing to do with it. Just the house is in Bear Creek district.
Do we have any muscle to flex here to get the homeowner satisfied, or should I ask that question in the executive session? It just really upsets me that this family has been there in this situation as long as it has.
Yeah.
Would we not want it to step in because there's always liability questions if you even go and say, hey, I'm sorry this happened to you.
Right. Yeah, well, as your lawyer, I would say you shouldn't.
I agree, but it really irritates me that, because any one of us could be in the same situation.
Right, and
It's just not
like the homeowner, I agree, it's obnoxious that it's taken this long. So I think, candidly, I'll stay on the adjusters to resolve it somehow.
Kick the butt on this one, please.
Good.
I'm good, thank you.
All right. So the ravine agreement, I am not asking you to approve this in the sense of adopting it as an agreement that binds the board. We're in a position here where the lawyers have agreed on language to bring to, I'm bringing it to you, and if you approve this language for consideration, then Mr. Dorotek, Lakewood Assistant City Attorney, would take it to Lakewood for their consideration. So we're in sort of a preliminary phase here. This satisfies the lawyers. I'm asking you for your input or sort of acceptance of the language for consideration. And I'm happy to answer questions about the changes that have been made. The red line that you have is all of the changes that have been made since the first agreement was posted on the website. So some of these are mine and some of these are Lakewood's.
I guess my first reaction is there's been so much public interest in this. I would like to hear what they've got to say. So I'd like to put it on the agenda at the next meeting. And what we had on today's agenda didn't really alert me that, I mean, I should have known better, yes, I know. But I'm thinking the average person looked at our agenda today wouldn't have necessarily saw that this was their opportunity to say something. And if we put it on next meeting's agenda, that we're gonna be doing a vote and we're looking for your input. Well, in the city, whenever we were doing something like that, we call it a hearing. So maybe we wanna do a hearing, give them a chance to say what they're gonna say.
I told Lakewood City Attorney not to expect approval from you tonight. So I think that's.
You know me so well.
Well, I know this issue, certainly.
So I would suggest we have a hearing at the next meeting. And advertise it to the public. This is your chance, now or never, come in and say your piece. And then put out, you know, I know I got it, but I don't think.
I think the red line was posted on the website.
Yeah, it was, but still, I don't think people realized it.
And just caution that every day of delay of having some kind of agreement makes the probability of pipe failure more likely. And at some point, it's gonna happen. The fact that how far from that sewer line is the line you guys just worked on? I'm thinking of the moving ground issue.
It's just, I'd say as the crow flies about 75 yards.
So we have ground movement 75 yards from our sewer line. So how much risk are you willing to take?
I mean, we've been at it for 5 or 6 years, but
Every day that it goes by, it's more probable.
I know, but
You're an economist, you know, the numbers are the numbers.
I know, but I would still like to do it right. And I'm just not sure we're there. I have doubts.
I'm just not sure there's a right.
I don't know.
Is this right for you?
Some things I would prefer are not there, but
Do you have any changes
No.
to suggest?
no.
Well, I did have people calling me today saying they wanted to make changes and stuff like that. I was like, well, I'm this bit about the hour before the meeting, it's not good for me. I need to be working it up beforehand. So I would like to have a hearing and tell them, come in with your piece of paper, with all that sort of stuff, justify what it is, and then we'll call it one way or the other. At some point, we'll make a decision, but I'm just not there today.
I don't know. And any other thoughts? In my opinion, that sounds very noble, but I don't know that the agreements have been changing that much for little words, that the public does not know that these are there, and Kim Leadmill is here every month to tell us her opinion on it. I don't know that her opinion has changed. I don't know that this has changed a whole lot.
When she told us she didn't like it, but it's like, well, what? Go through the line by line and let's make some changes, you know, like.
Send an email to the board with your proposed changes. I mean, what I would be concerned about is the two very able attorneys have been working for months to get us where we are. And do we think that changing language considerably because some people don't like something, like ownership or whatever, is going to materially change how Lakewood sees this? I mean, we speculated a year and a half ago that, you know, we could make a decision then and we'd just go ahead and go to litigation. And we said, well, we're in litigation with a bunch of other stuff. Let's try not to do that. But that's where the obvious conclusion here is if we don't move forward on something.
And I think
Well-
that's where we ended up being, right? That was after that executive session, you came out of it, you had an agreement, you've been working on the same kind of structure for however long that has been. So I don't think things have there's not been a lot to change. I still don't like any of it, but that's not I don't think anybody is surprised by where we're at right now. So the i's are dotted, but I don't think it's anything new that we would need to wait for. You were going to say something, Director?
Yeah, I guess my concern pretty much kind of maybe mirrors Dave. I mean, I'm just fearful of liability. I mean, to me, if someone gets hurt, if the pipe breaks, I mean, I figure that us and Lakewood would be co-defendants in the suit, right?
Yes.
I mean, they would be coming after both of us. And so then you would probably be a factored, settlement. The person wins X, Green Mountain is X% wrong, City of Lakewood is X% wrong, and here's our liability, $100,000, $5 million, whatever it is. And I guess, and I don't like anything that's happened with the City of Lakewood, and I don't pretty much trust the City of Lakewood. I more tend to view this as an issue of trying to stem liability. And part of it is, so, I mean, there's multiple factors in there. There's liability from the district standpoint for us. I've had people tell me there's liability for us personally. I mean, I kind of get hit from, one or two or three different angles. And what I really don't know is, and I like him, so if, say there was a failure tonight, and we'll say two things happen. The pipe bust, drowns some little kid, and two things happen at once. I mean, are we liable as directors for not having acted on this? No. Okay, so if that's off the table, then to me, it comes down to when we're sued, what is the best way to minimize our liability here in the long run? And I understand it's not popular with the constituent. I get that. I mean, I 100% get it. And I don't think Lakewood is doing us any favors in any way. On the other hand, I don't want us to lose $5 million because something happens to some child, honestly. Whether it be through sewage, whether it be through accident. So to me, it's a quandary.
Well, we've talked about it before. I've said the same thing. All I'm concerned about is liability. I'm just not sure if this is the one that reduces our liability the best.
Well, in theory, aren't you trying to protect us to the maximum in theory? I would like.
Yes.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, and there's not 100%.
Well, I understand. So, I mean, I understand that there's fraction, I mean, from what I've seen in suits, like it's the shotgun approach.
Yeah.
Right, and then
so
you get attributed your portion of failure.
And immunity too. So you are immune from suits as a government entity for certain things. And the state legislature has declared that you are not immune for certain things. So this really is an attempt to properly allocate that policy. Affect that policy allocation of liability. So you do have some liability just as a service provider some of which you can alienate and some of which you can't. So yes, my job is to make sure that you get yours and only yours.
Right.
Sort of.
So we minimize the district's liability. Right.
I think we all have the same goal.
By assuming all the
Yeah,
liability.
and so it's, like I said, this to me, it's a quandary. It's not just a cut and dried, and I understand the arguments of ownership and everything, I get it. But I can just tell you from a liability standpoint, I don't think people care who the owner is. They want to know who they can get money from.
Can I just clarify though, when you're saying liability though, my interpretation of what's going on is that you are saying reducing liability, you are saying reducing liability by assuming 100% liability so that we can replace the new structure. So we're that is the reduction in liability is being able to move faster, to agree that we are going to replace this.
With respect to the middle structure, you are reducing your exposure to risk by replacing that structure quickly. Yes.
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 So it's just the reduction in time. We're just still taking it over. I mean, we'll have 100% of the liability for
Well,
these things.
You are already exposed to liability for the risk of catastrophic failure of the sewage pipe because it's a.
Right.
Independent, basically independently of who owns the structure. If the structure breaks and your pipe breaks, the sewage flowing into the ravine is your problem. Yeah, so if the ownership might matter for if a pedestrian falls off the bridge, the structure using it as a bridge. This agreement, the purpose of this agreement and the effect of this agreement is that pedestrian tort liability is alienated from you and goes to Lakewood where it probably should be.
Well, and in theory, like if it truly was according to the report we had where it said they owned it all, in theory, they are currently liable, in theory, on paper, but is that reality?
I don't think so. I think that you'd have to go through probably 3 or 4 years of litigation to find out the real answer to that.
I do think not, this is all kind of well-trod ground. I don't know that we're covering anything new. And we've had several opportunities to make adjustments along the way here, and that has never come up. So does anybody feel like we need to postpone a decision on this for?
I feel we need to postpone it, but this was a really good distinction because I'm hearing from a lot of ratepayers concerned about this. And the distinction being the sewage itself being our responsibility, a liability towards us. And there, a lot of them are writing me and citing this complex history of ownership, a park, the city, the structures on the park property. But I think what you just said helps quite a bit if anybody's listening. And it helps me, but I would still say we should wait until the next meeting. Just to make it perfectly clear, make people understand, help them understand.
Okay, so you would be waiting and there's no motion coming forth to either for anything. So we will just.
So are we
back burner
wanting
this?
to hear, Dave was suggesting we were wanting to hear from people.
Yeah, I'd like to schedule a hearing for
Do
the
you
meeting.
want to do that?
I would rather just have public comment just as usual.
So would I. I mean, only because I think we could get into very long and arduous
Right.
things where, I mean, if people are to the point, like their main points, that would be probably more effective for me to hear than for a half-hour rambling unhappiness.
Are you distinguishing public hearing as a different process? You're just saying bring public comment to the middle of the meeting instead, or having two sessions?
Yeah, I guess what I'm visualizing is that we've kind of flirted with the idea that on certain issues, maybe it would be helpful for the audience to weigh in. I know there's a downside to that. You don't want them on everything, but like Joe said, a really good point. It's like I'd like to hear it. And when that issue came up, it was like if they were here and they wanted to throw something in, I think that would be an exception that I would like to make.
I like it all at once because we don't have so many things on the agenda that people are usually making a whole lot. Plus we have the 5 minutes.
Is there a motion pending that
There's-
we could consider? I mean,
Yeah, if
somebody
you want
wants
to make a
do
motion,
present a
then
motion?
please.
Otherwise-
Okay, well, I'll move that we put it on a hearing at the next meeting, or,
Okay.
well,
And describe what you're thinking. for
yeah, I was
the
gonna
next
say what's the
meeting.
correct word to describe that people be able to give their input during the discussion. And I look back upon the time when I was in the audience and I didn't think of something when I first came in, but during the discussion, it's like, oh yeah, bell comes on and I wanna weigh
That's a
in.
completely different process then. You're saying you want an open dialogue with anybody who's in here at any time. Okay,
We have not any time,
Okay.
but on this
on
particular,
this particular topic, anybody can jump in at any time and we would have an open dialogue with people.
well, recognize them as like,
Sure.
you just can't.
But we're not having a comment period and then a board discussion. We're having an open dialogue with anybody who wants to interact. So this is not a board meet, that's different than we have a hearing and then have a board discussion.
You do a study session. You wanted to do that?
Open,
It might be an idea, the council does, yeah.
they don't let you jump in on a study session.
Well.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Study session different.
Primary distinction for a study session is that you can't take formal action.
Yeah, you don't vote on anything,
You're listening.
So that might be worth considering in between this and our next official meeting.
Let me just throw out there that I have sent out several emails and told people to come in. I mean, we have people stop. This has been a year and a half. I don't know how many other people will be coming in.
The same
There-
places.
there has
felt the
been-
Same thing.
There was a lot of beating of the bushes today for comment. I think I heard from everybody I will hear from next month as well.
Was there a second to Dave's motion? I didn't hear one.
I don't think we even had a motion. Did you finish a motion?
Well, I think Dylan's gonna tell me what do I mean?
I think
Oh,
I heard a motion for
The hearing.
a hearing, yeah, which it's soliciting public comment during a particular board discussion.
that sounds like what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I guess the question is that clear enough and
No, I mean, if you're saying during discussion, again, so we're talking and somebody can pop up and say, I have a question. That's what you would like, open dialogue. Okay, second? Second,
Window.
Wendell, Wickman makes a motion, Director Wendell seconds. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I would say that this sounds interesting to me, but I'd certainly put some kind of limits on it. I don't know if we want to put a time limit on it. Five minutes per person who chooses to interrupt us or ask a question, but we can't go on all night. Because I think like Dave suggested, we're gonna hear a lot of the same. But this would be a good opportunity for people to give their last bit of input before we decide. So I like that idea, but I'd like to, put some restraints on it as far as time.
Okay,
That would require a change of the original motion.
well, I agree what you're saying. Do I have to put a particular overall time limit or time limit per person? If people are interacting, you can sit there and say, well, here's something, I do that in 30 seconds. And the conversation goes on for 5 minutes. Then something else comes up, 30 seconds, I want to say that. Rather than all at once. I mean, people are not necessarily real organized if they have all their thoughts together for a 5-minute presentation. I mean, it's like, well, we have a discussion here. We're not.
Are you prepared to be the timekeeper?
no, I'm not, I will, yeah, for these reasons, I will be voting no. This is too complex to be
I
handling.
support it. I think it's unwieldy and.
Yeah, we,
impractical.
Well, that's why we have discussion.
Okay. So we will vote.
all right, all in favor? Director Wendell, I'm losing it,
What's
Wickman,
his name?
yeah.
Director Dave.
And that agree, and then all opposed, Director Hooks, Garner, and Morgan. Motion fails. That's. Yeah,
I
that's in your
want to
thing.
caution you all, of something that I've heard in the last 3 or 4 days on this topic, and that is a predictable number of people who I would expect to say something like this, coming forward and saying, this is the opportunity to get back at the city for other things unrelated to the district. And I think that's a very dangerous place for us to put ourselves. First of all, it's not fair to the district residents. And regardless of your politics on homeless issues, this is not the place to adjudicate those issues. So you're right, it's all about liability.
Interesting that you would bring up homeless issues, but okay, moving on. Is there, anybody else have a suggestion for how to move on for this? Just wait and put it on the agenda once again?
I guess,
Okay,
or if you want, we can
Do you have a motion to bring forward now?
Let's do it.
Sure, I'll make a motion that we actually approve the letter that we have in order to mitigate our liability.
Director Hooks moves. Second,
I'll second it, yeah.
Director Garner seconds.
I have a question for the attorney, if I could
This
ask
is
it.
discussion.
Does this represent what you regard as the best efforts of the county assistant city attorney and you? Of what you think is reasonable?
Yep, yeah, I think that with the possible exception of very minor tinkering around the edges, this is the agreement that reflects the best outcome between the two parties.
I'm not smart enough to disagree with that, so that's where I am.
Very good.
Could I outside litigation?
Yeah. I would only could I.
Anything else? Comments, discussion? All right, all in favor of approving as drafted?
Aye.
We have Director Wendell, Director Hooks, Director Garner approving, so, and then opposed, Director Wickman and Morgan. Motion passes and it's on to City Council. And you can tell them that you were wrong. You got approval tonight.
I said with luck.
There you
So,
go.
St. Patrick's Day is coming.
All right. On
City
to,
screws us over, will have been wrong.
And I will.
okay,
Have some consolation about it.
I don't say so, yeah.
I just like to know that I'll remember that if that's the case.
Yeah, reassuring.
Okay, on to next. No other general legal matters. Okay, executive session coming up. So move to have an executive session you want to read for determining positions for negotiations. Do I need to read all of that right now?
Could we take 5 minutes before we do that, or?
Can we have a motion and then take 5 minutes before we convene this session? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I will move that we move into executive session.
Okay,
Second.
all right, and then you're reading, good, Director.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Is Doug still online?
Doesn't look like it.
I have a question for him. Maybe you could relay it to him concerning one of these.
We're in the middle of, so Director Hooks made a motion, Garner second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are you?
Oh, just because, yeah, Andre.
Okay, and Director Wickman opposes.
Don't do that when there's a vacancy.
Motion passes.
The district will adjourn into executive session as provided in the motion and take an electronic recording of the session to satisfy the open meeting law. On this date, March 12th at 7:38, the district has voted to convene an executive session pursuant to CRS 246402 sub 4 sub E, determining positions subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators regarding district management. Satisfy the open meeting law, the executive session is being electronically recorded. I caution each participant to confine all discussions to the stated purpose of the executive session and that no formal action may occur in the executive session. The executive session has been concluded. The participants in the executive session are the board of directors and myself, general counsel of the district. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record. Seeing none, the next agenda item is 11A.
Executive session for Big Sky. That was, so we could ask questions regarding the latest court session. And get legal advice about what the next steps are. So I will move to go into executive session for Big Sky legal advice. There's
Second.
seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous approval. Thank you.
All right, as the district's attorney, it is my opinion that the discussion of the matter announced in the motion to go into executive session constitutes a privilege of attorney-client communication. I am therefore recommending that no further record be kept until the executive session has been concluded. Time is now 8:46, and I am turning the recording off. The time is now 9:12, and we resume the recording because the attorney-client communication is finished. The participants in the executive session were the board of directors and myself, general counsel for the district. If anybody thinks we talked about anything we shouldn't have, tell me now. Moving.
Okay, thank you all. We are on to item 12, legal matters. As a result of the executive session regarding the district manager, I would like to move to appoint Director Wendell as a new negotiating team to present a formal offer.
Second.
Right? Second by Director Wickman. Any discussion on this? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Director Wendell, Director Wickman, Director Morgan, and then all opposed, Director Hooks, and Director Garner. Motion passes. So we will have the process is continuing with a new negotiating team and another offer to come. Team of one. I think that was all on there. So unless there's anything else on to new business. I had a preliminary discussion for staff hiring and salary practices. I would like to, let me just give you background. And some of this just came up again. Although I was anticipating some of this will have, I don't know. Here's where we're at, I think. We have legacy issues with staff that have not yet been addressed, which are pay bands and position descriptions and getting all of that settled out. We were going to look at that with the previous manager, and that didn't happen. And I would like to suggest that we do that now. Under the new manager, before we start shaking things up. For example, if our new manager would like to be hiring other people, I would like to get things set for what we have expectations as a board to be doing that, how many personnel we need and what we're looking at and the pay. And have some kind of better guidelines for that to happen. Does that make sense so far? No.
So you're wanting job descriptions and pay ranges.
Yes. A check on those things and to put in place some pay band so that we know what we're looking at. Or get some suggestions thereof and take a look at these things.
Now, are you thinking this is what Josh is gonna do?
I am thinking that probably not as a in its entirety. That would be an input versus a whole thing. We could do it lots of different ways.
Well, ordinarily, that would be a management function.
It would be a management function.
Is that what we're talking about or something else?
We could, I think I would prefer looking at hiring company, HR company to come look at this.
Yeah.
Especially given looking at the salary ranges and some of the things that the recent hires and the recent promotions and bonuses and things that may have thrown things out of whack, just to get things settled. So I definitely think that the manager would have that input.
But you're
But-
still looking at it as an outside consultant.
I think it needs an outside consultant. I think it would be something to look at
I like
before
to
we
say
start.
that. Yeah, I've been through a couple of these kinds of reevaluation processes, and we're gonna, on both ways. One of the problems with having it done in-house is it's extremely intrusive. Trying to get somebody to write their own job description in a consistent way across the organization rarely works. And that's why these professional HR companies exist. They come in and do it all the time. They have standards from across the country. You get some sort of universal language that makes a lot of sense. And then you can tweak that model that they have to the individual situation. It's frightfully expensive,
Well, that of course will be the next question.
but you get a result that you can generally rely on as opposed to one that's done in-house that you're rolling the dice.
And theoretically, if you got something, it becomes a baseline for the rest of the future.
And Karen's been rolling the dice in this question for how many years now?
Before I came on, it was
So-
not my initiative,
So-
yeah.
Let's all sit down and get it done has not worked. For
Yeah.
all kinds of reasons. Well,
Well,
always gonna be the reasons why it doesn't work.
and the outsider has got the advantage of being beyond reproach and it's not political and nobody's,
Personal interest.
no personal conflict of interest.
All you have to watch for is it taking too long for them to do it, extending their billable hours.
Yeah.
But that happens with every consultant.
So what are you looking for? Looking for a motion to hire somebody?
Well, I don't know, it was just yes, we could do a motion now to hire somebody. I don't have anybody to hire offhand. We'd have to look at it.
Well, we could
We
wait
can-
for next meeting.
We can put it off to next meeting. I'd suggest a hiring freeze until we get this settled for, then we can move forward with.
Do we need to make any hires?
Yeah,
We do. Who are we looking for?
I'm looking to hire 2 people.
To do what? Do what?
Entry level for water and sewer maintenance,
Okay,
maintenance technicians. We're short staffed.
okay.
Yeah, extremely tough. We just had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with some of the other
Well, I might be out.
managers.
I might be available.
Around the front range, and they're coaching each other's people, so.
Right.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult to find.
What's our somebody that leaves because of pay? Is it, what is
Well-
typically the barrier?
The driving force for people moving around, yes, is pay. You gotta find somebody who can drive a commercial vehicle, who can pass certifications to become an operator. There's just not a lot of that out.
And we provide CDL training. And what's entry level pay here? Probably.
I believe it's like 23, let's say, something like that.
Wow.
So
Wait, $23 an hour or 23,000?
$23 an hour.
I've been out of the market for a decade. I can no longer tell, but those good prices.
Less than McDonald's at the moment.
Yeah, it's an extremely.
McDonald's pays more than 23.
Extremely niche
Some places.
industry that we're in. You know, finding somebody off the street, most of it's word of mouth. From what I'm hearing from everybody, that's kind of how You know, we had some people come over from Consolidated, we had somebody come over, from just other water districts.
So if you take someone off the street, are they hard to train? Or is it kind of, what
Well,
learning curve are we taking?
There's definitely a learning curve because you're in the plumbing industry almost, like hydraulics, things like that, like that's not easily obtained. Just having an understanding of how water moves around through pipes and things like that, so there's significant training involved.
Do you work with apprentice councils or schools or?
We've tried, I mean, like Red Rocks, they have a wastewater program there, we put ads up there, AWWA.
Does that work?
Most of it's, word of mouth. We got lucky with a few hires that were in the industry moving to Denver and that was, nice to see, but it's hard finding people right now. But we're a crew of 15 guys at the moment. On call 24/7, 365. That isn't spread out heavily because of how many people we have. Digs, water, sewer maintenance, there's.
Well, if we
A lot of
can get
people
someone,
split
I
up.
don't know that I want to put on a hiring freeze until
Yeah.
that's done. I would rather have the option if someone comes along to
Sure.
hire them, for that I would.
Can we do these two or bring them to, and anything, just bring to board for approval and we can do that. I'd like to see,
Well, isn't the HR thing kind of separate from that?
Well, I'm also assuming it's a little bit more high level.
Right,
I assume entry level would probably be relatively,
yeah, it
that's the way
could,
I'm asking, I mean,
it could. But these two positions are the ones that have been open
Yeah,
because of.
how long has it been open?
well, I mean, they've not technically been open, but we lost one person, one retired. So in those positions just haven't been.
Well, that's one of the things I was thinking.
Yeah.
I've seen retirements during my time here.
Yeah.
Have they ever been replaced?
Jim that recently retired, he has not been replaced. In Austin, well, I mean, I moved over there, but we're still, we could use.
Right. So it's not, again, all of these are. There's work to do, but it has been and probably piling up, but we are dealing with it as it's going. So sure, the faster that we can do it and get back up to speed, the better. But I do want to make sure that we are bringing people in at the right level. And not creating future problems that will cascade.
Well, certainly we wouldn't want to block Josh from filling entry level positions.
Yeah,
He'd have authority to continue doing that indefinitely. Our concern is for the positions at a little bit higher level than that.
well, I'm suggesting look at, because they all have not been looked at,
Right.
so. It would be a district, a staff-wide,
Yeah, that's fair, but I would
Right.
just
Yeah,
say,
the review would be staff-wide, but the immediate need for hires should proceed. And subject to the board stopping at any time based on where a vacancy would exist above entry level.
right.
Then you could
yeah,
achieve your objective there.
maybe.
But the holes still have to be dug.
We still, yeah,
Unless we're all-
and we are,
Not me anymore, but I mean.
right,
Dave says he's willing.
Yeah, I could work for $20 an hour.
Doesn't want to kill you.
Honestly, that's good money, isn't it?
Pay those Denny's lunch bills.
so if we are just doing the entry and we're not doing any promotional opportunities and they are base. That would be one thing, is that what that would be okay? Okay. No contract employees coming up?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Okay,
Is that something you can do, if you're in a crisis, can you go down to some sort of temporary labor company and hire temporary labor for a few days? Is that something we can or can't do?
I wouldn't go that road personally. We would just hire a contractor to come in if it was an emergency situation to help us out. If, like we have multiple areas out of water or something like that, we have some contractors we partner with that know, hey, we might call you someday to help us out, so.
Okay, well, those two, maybe that would be okay while we look, and then, but I would appreciate it if that situation changes, you would come and let us know what is going on.
Absolutely.
To make that happen. As far as hiring somebody to do the review, I don't have any suggestions for that at this time. I wasn't planning on making it that far, actually, in the discussion. I just wanted to, again, we're going over and above tonight.
Anything on the agenda for next week? Next meeting?
If you are all comfortable with looking for an outside company,
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
then,
concept is fine.
okay. Can we ask you to look around and see what you see at the, for that? I kind of think we looked at that at one point, but I don't remember who was on the list. I may have still an email about it. But can we ask staff then to bring us some preliminaries, and if you have any suggestions?
When you say okay, I'm getting lost now as to what you're asking them to do.
Look at somebody to hire to do this, to do an HR review.
Okay, so like we had that one lady that was working as a consultant do that, and we pretty much rejected all of it.
So that's what I'm asking. Well, and we
did
did.
do
I would
that?
like
I don't
to,
remember, she was here working.
Kristen.
temporarily. Kristen.
Kristen was here, and we did and if you want to go down that route. We got, almost all of them were okay. We got a lot of manager salary suggestions to be hiked, so the whole management team was going to be hiked substantially. Based on the job description, so we wanted to know what actually was going on with the job descriptions that we didn't get agreement on. So that's where we would need to go. We could start with the job descriptions we have and meet with another consultant to describe the problems and go from there. Meet with manager, describe the problems, go from there. She was not an HR consultant. She was the manager, engineer.
Would Denver Water be able to provide any guidance? Do we have any contacts over there?
I don't know. You're welcome to look into it.
I will give Denver Water a call.
Thank you very much.
I mean, I can reach out to Julie, our representative for the distributors, ask her.
This might be a service that's provided via the pool also.
So think about it, come with a suggestion.
FDA.
Yeah, the pool is
Cool.
Colorado Special Districts.
it's the insurer.
And we can talk about how to go next time.
All right.
Good. Wow, thank you. Okay.
And we're ready to leave. I'm just thinking, and I should have done this earlier, but of course I free associate. What's going on with Solterra Legal?
The Fossil Ridge litigation.
Fossil Ridge, yes.
It's on appeal and the opening brief is due April 4th. It's,
Anybody else?
Did the minutes get approved?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Want me to sign those?
All right.
Sure, do that one.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I would be pleased to make a motion to adjourn as my very last one.
Director Garner, we will be missing you. Thank you very much.
Yes, we.
Is there a second?
I will.
No, I oppose motion.
Second by Director Hooks. Any opposed?
Yeah,
Director Wickman.
yeah. I want to keep meeting.
He's gonna stay here. Motion passes. Thank you all.